Interview to Mr. Reid Bigland, Global Head of Alfa Romeo and Maserati. Alfa Romeo's celebrity in the United States started with a young Dustin Hoffman driving a Duetto 1750, which has become so popular that in the US it is known as a Duetto graduate. To what extent is that Alfa Romeo still present in America's imagination?
I think it's certainly out there. In fact, just 10 days ago, I had a banker in Los Angeles, a fellow named Mike Pines, tell me he drove a Alfa Romeo graduate. And I just heard it 10 days ago. But notwithstanding Mike Pines, I think to a certain extent, there's not that many Americans that are aware of the Duetto back from 1967, unless they're an absolute car buff or really a movie buff. And I say that because if you think about it, that was 50 years ago today. But those that are familiar, it just further underscores kind of the passion that exists in the American marketplace for the Alfa Romeo brand.
The return of the automaker in the US after 20 years of absence is a major challenge. What are the values that will allow the American public to reconnect to the history of the Italian brand?
Well, if we think back over the past little bit over 105 years about Alfa Romeo, and we look at what really defined the great Alfas, from my perspective, it was really three things. It was state-of-the-art technology, incredible performance, and of course that gorgeous Italian design that many people immediately think of when it comes to Alfa Romeo. And I think when we reestablish this brand now, 20 years after its absence, we really need to stay true to what those great Alfa Romeos were known for and really take it upon ourselves to educate the American people that that's what the great Alfas were known for. And the other thing is very much putting the driver at the center as an integral part of the vehicle. And I think now, with the reintroduction of the Giulia, we've definitely tried to do that, and it seems to be working.
Alfa Romeo and Maserati are undoubtedly, with Ferrari, the most iconic brands of the Italian automotive production. How and to what extent is this historical value perceived by the American market?
I think Americans generally sense that there's something special about Alfa Romeo, Maserati, and Ferrari, but I don't think a lot of Americans really know why those brands are so special. And that's why when it comes to Alfa Romeo, arguably the heart and soul of the automotive industry, it is incumbent upon us now to really educate the American people as to why, again, in particular, the Alfa Romeo brand is so legendary.
A major protagonist of 2017 will certainly be Alfa Romeo Giulia. How has it been presented to and accepted by American drivers?
I think so far so good with respect to the acceptance of the Giulia, not only in America but also around the world. Today I'll pick up our 48th award for the Giulia. It has won a number of head-to-head performance competitions put on by Motor Trend, Road and Track, a number of the most prestigious automobile magazines in the United States. So sales as well are beginning, just beginning here in the US. The turn rate is incredibly quick. Even though the Giulia has only been in the market for a few months, so far so good. And the passion towards the Giulia and the interest around the Giulia is truly off the chart.
Giulia is the expression of made in Italy's refined taste and perfectly embodies the renewal of the brand while remaining true to its tradition. How is it possible to combine these two inclinations that are seemingly so far apart?
The Giulia really is a clean sheet of paper from a design perspective for Alfa Romeo. And we knew we only have that one chance to make that positive first impression. So if you think about the Giulia, we started from an all-new platform, all-new chassis, all-new engines, led by two senior managers from Ferrari. And what we have been able to deliver with the Giulia is a vehicle that is the greatest of what Alfa Romeo has ever stood for from a performance, a technology, and a style perspective. So that's really what we've been after with the Giulia, and that's what I think we're in the process of establishing not only in America, but also around the world.
What makes the Giulia the right car to break the brand back into the US market in volume?
It's certainly the quality of it. And at Alfa Romeo, we're not looking to necessarily set any sales records in our first few years. We need to be true to the DNA of Alfa and what the great Alfa stood for, and the Giulia definitely does that. So I think if we can stay true to what the great Alfas were known for, the sales will have a tendency to take care of itself. And as I previously mentioned, the Giulia is a great ambassador for for the Alfa Romeo brand here in 2017.
The American market historically prefers SUVs and crossovers, especially in the premium sector. In which way does the brand intend to work towards the future expansion of its range?
Well, there's no question that the American consumer, and to a large extent even the Chinese consumer, are moving more and more towards SUVs and away from passenger vehicles. At Alfa Romeo, the midsize sedan market is still the largest premium segment in the world. We feel we have that covered with the Giulia, but we're also on the cusp of introducing to the North American market the Alfa Romeo Stelvio, which will be the first SUV in the over 105-year history of Alfa Romeo. And with respect to that SUV, we wanted to make it an Alfa Romeo first, with all of the technology, the performance, and the style that people have come to know and love about Alfa Romeo, and then make it an SUV with all of the functionality of an SUV second. And I think when you have an opportunity, Paulo, to get behind the wheel of the Stelvio, I think you're going to discover that we've succeeded on that objective.
How was the Stelvio name chosen?
Well, the Stelvio name was chosen from one of the greatest roads by Top Gear of all time, the Stelvio Pass, bridging Italy and the Swiss Alps and the Italian Alps. And it is one of the greatest driving roads that is in existence for a vehicle that is going to be one of the greatest driving vehicles that is out there in the marketplace. And we haven't yet taken the Stelvio to the Nürburgring like we did on the Giulia, which is the fastest four-door production sedan in the world around the ring at 7 minutes and 32 seconds. But we're very confident that the Stelvio will be the fastest SUV in the world when we also take that to the track, all going well later this year.
Why will the Stelvio appeal to U.S. customers?
Well, U.S. consumers are looking for more functionality out of their vehicles, and that functionality is generally delivered in an SUV. And when I talk about that functionality, it's a larger trunk space, a roomier cabin, and then all of the functionality that you would get associated with all-wheel drive. So American consumers seem to be, really gravitating towards SUVs. We see that in the growth of those segments, and now Alfa will be able to deliver.
How will the Stelvio set itself apart from the premium midsize SUVs in its segment?
Well, certainly a differentiator for Alfa Romeo is in its performance characteristics, not only in the Giulia sedan, but that'll also be evident in the SUV. The driving dynamics of the Stelvio will be truly unmatched in the premium performance segment, and that'll be backed up by, I think, 0 to 60 times, as well as times around the Nürburgring.
What type of brand is Alfa Romeo looking to evolve into in the US? A more boutique-like manufacturer like Porsche, or something more mainstream?
Well, I think definitely not mainstream. Alfa Romeo is positioned as a premium import brand in the United States and will be forever positioned as a premium performance brand in the US. And as far as sales volumes go, that's a little bit of secondary. We need to be true to the DNA of what the great Alfas were. Again, the great technology, performance, and Italian style. And we'll worry a little bit about the sales later. But if we can stay true to that, I'm very confident that the sales will take care of themselves.
How is Alfa Romeo going to establish itself in the competitive landscape, and how will it be different from the typical luxury sedan and midsize SUV?
Aside from the performance characteristics of Alfa, it's really a desire to make the driver an integral part of the machine, where the driver's senses are engaged with Alfa Romeo on a regular and consistent basis. At Alfa Romeo, we haven't set out just to provide basic transportation. If somebody's looking for basic transportation, a Toyota Corolla is going to do just fine. At Alfa Romeo, we're looking to have the driver engaged. They're mentally engaged, physically engaged, the mind and the soul. And that at Alfa Romeo is really what we're looking to do, and I think we've done it with the Giulia as well as the Stelvio.
Only those who have a great past can face future challenges. How important is it for Alfa Romeo to continue to narrate a deeply Italian history also, and especially abroad.
Well, I completely agree with that statement. The past of Alfa Romeo is truly great. And part of our challenge here in rolling out the brand again in the U.S. market is to educate U.S. consumers about that legendary past of Alfa Romeo. From 1923 and Enzo Ferrari and Ugo Savacci and the development of the Quadrifoglio badge, getting into the late 50s and the 158 Alfetta, early 50s, and the first Formula One World Championship, and then into the 60s where we started our conversation with vehicles like the Duetta, aka the Graduate, the 1967 Giulia GTV, and one of the greatest Alfas of all time from my perspective, the Tipo 33 Stradale, which is just a remarkable machine. And I think when consumers understand that rich past of Alfa Romeo, they're going to be even more attracted to the brand and I believe our future products.